Hello friends, welcome back to our new video, that is MCQs on biochemistry, and this is the part 10 of the series of videos on biochemistry. So the first question of this video, that is question number 181. So the question is, the hexose sugar referred as sugar of body is option A ribose, option B glucose, option C fructose, or option D sucrose. And the right one is option B, that is glucose. So the hexose sugar referred as sugar of body is glucose. Okay, so let's move on to next one, that is the disaccharide present in can, beet, carrot, sorghum and pineapple etc. are known as option A trehalose, option B lactose, option C sucrose, or option D galactose. So the right answer is option C, that is sucrose. So the disaccharide present in can, beet, carrot, sorghum and pineapple are known as sucrose. Okay. Next question देखेंगे. Next is the key enzyme for the utilization of ketone bodies is option A thiokinase, option B thiolase, option C mevalonate kinase, or option D thiophorase. Okay, so the right answer is option D, that is thiophorase. So the key enzyme for the utilization of ketone bodies is thiophorase. Okay, so next question देखेंगे. Next is question number 184. So when the liver is actively synthesizing fatty acids, the concomitant decrease in beta oxidation of fatty acids is due to option A inhibition by end product, option B decrease in adipolysis, option C inactivation of specific enzymes of fatty acid oxidation, or option D inhibition of translocation between cellular compartments. So the right one is option D, that is inhibition of translocation between cellular compartments. So when the liver is actively synthesizing fatty acids, a concomitant decrease in beta oxidation of fatty acid is due to inhibition of translocation between cellular compartments. Okay, so next question देखेंगे. Next is 185. So malonyl CoA is a direct inhibitor of which enzyme of fatty acid oxidation? And the options are option A carnitine acyl transferase 1, or option B carnitine acyl transferase 2, or option C thiokinase, or option D none of the above. So the right answer is option A, that is carnitine acyl transferase 1. So malonyl CoA is a direct inhibitor of which enzyme of fatty acid oxidation? That is carnitine acyl transferase 1. Okay. Next question देखेंगे. Next is 186. So the storage polysaccharide in animals is option A starch, option B glycogen, option C glucose, option D sucrose, and the right one is option B, that is glycogen. So the storage polysaccharide in animals is glycogen. Okay. Next question देखेंगे. Next is 187. So the non-branching helical structure of starch is option A trehalose, option B amylose, option C amylopectin, option D dextrin, and the right one is option B, that is amylose. Okay, so the non-branching helical structure of starch is amylose. So next is 188. So which statement out of the following is incorrect about Zellweger syndrome? And the options are option A results from the absence of functional paroxysms, or option B characterized by hypoglycemia and ketosis, or option C caused by a defect in the import of enzymes into the paroxysms, or option D death occurs within 6 years of life. So which is incorrect about Zellweger syndrome is option B, that is characterized by hypoglycemia and ketosis. This is the wrong one, wrong statement. Okay, about the Zellweger syndrome. So let's move on to question number 189, that is, which statement best describes the oxidation of odd chain fatty acids? And the options are: option A, additional specific enzyme are needed for the oxidation process, or option B, one carbon is removed in one cycle, or option C, end product is propionyl CoA, or option D, hydroxy fatty acids are produced. So the right one is option C, that is end product is propionyl CoA. So which statement best describes the oxidation of odd chain fatty acids? That is end product is propionyl CoA. Okay, so next question देखेंगे. Next is 190. So one and the only energy requiring step in fatty acid oxidation is catalyzed by which of the following wing enzymes? And the options are: option A, thiolase; option B, acyl CoA dehydrogenase; option C, thiokinase; and option D, beta hydroxy acyl CoA dehydrogenase. And the right one is option C, that is thiokinase. So one and the only energy requiring step in fatty acid oxidation is catalyzed by which of the following wing enzymes? That is the thiokinase. Okay. So next question देखेंगे. Next is question number 191. So the structural polysaccharide in exoskeleton of insects is: option A, starch; option B, amylose; option C, chitin; or option D, amylopectin. And the right one is option C, that is chitin. So the structural polysaccharide in exoskeleton of insects is chitin. So next is 192, that is the conversion of an optically pure isomer, that is enantiomer, is a mixture of an equal amount of both dextro and levo forms is called as: option A, polymerization; option B, stereoisomerization; option C, racemarization; or option D, fractionation. And the right one is option C, that is racemarization. So the conversion of an optically pure isomer is a mixture of equal amount of both dextro and levo form is called as racemarization. Okay, so next question देखेंगे. Next is inhibition of the synthesis of ATP during oxidative phosphorylation by oligomycin is thought to be due to which of the following events? And the options are: option A, blocking of the proton gradient between NADH-Q reductase and QH2; or option B, blocking of the proton gradient between cytochrome C1 and cytochrome C; or option C, dissociation of cytochrome C from mitochondrial membranes; or option D, inhibiting of mitochondrial ATPase. So the right one is option D, that is inhibiting mitochondrial ATPase. So inhibition of the synthesis of ATP during oxidative phosphorylation by oligomycin is thought to be due to which of the following events? Due to inhibiting of mitochondrial ATPase. Okay. So let's move on to question number 194. So during gluconeogenesis, reducing equivalents from mitochondria to the cytosol are transported by: option A, malate; option B, aspartate; option C, glutamate; or option D, oxaloacetate. And the right one is option A, that is malate. So during gluconeogenesis, reducing equivalents from mitochondria to the cytosol are transported by malate. Okay. Next देखेंगे. Next is question number 195. So dehydrogenase serve two main functions. One is transfer of H plus from one substrate to another in a coupled oxidation reduction reaction, and second function is they serve as components in the respiratory chain of electron transport. So dehydrogenases can use which of the following compounds as an electron acceptor? And the options are: option A, H2O; option B, NAD+; option C, O2; or option D, peroxide. And the right one is Option B, that is NAD plus. So dehydrogenase can use NAD plus as an electron acceptor. Okay. नेक्स्ट देखेंगे, नेक्स्ट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 196. So the activation of the complement components occur via three distinct pathways. So which of the following components is specific to the alternate pathway of complement system? And the options are option A factor B and factor D, or option B mannose binding protein, or option C C1G R2S2, or option D C2. So the right answer is option A, that is factor B and factor D. So the activation of the complement components occur via three distinct pathways. So the factor B and factor D component is specific to the alternate pathway, okay, of complement. So next question देखेंगे, next is 197. So the chief constituents of framework of plants are option A cellulose, option B glycogen, option C starch, or option D amylose. And the right one is option A, that is cellulose. So the chief constituents of framework of plants is cellulose. Okay. Next question देखेंगे, next is 198. Fats are soluble in option A non-polar solvent, option B ethers, option C chloroform, or option D all of the above. So the right one is option D, all of the above. So fats can soluble in non-polar solvents, ethers, and chloroforms. Okay. So next question is a mixture of four proteins of PIs, that's 11, 7, 5, and 3, and are loaded onto DEAE ion exchange column equilibrate with low ionic strength buffer of pH 8. So which of the four proteins would be expected to be retained on the column? And the options are option A protein with pi 11 but not the others, or proteins with pi 11 and 7 but not 5 and 3, or option C protein with pi 7, 5 and 3, or option D protein with pi 7 but not the others. So the right one is option C, that is protein with pi 7, 5 and 3 will be retained on the column. Only pi 11 will pass. Okay. So the last question of this video, that is which of the following is true about the change in enthalpy of a reaction that is spontaneous at room temperature? And the options are option A, it is equal to T delta S, option B, it is positive and the reaction is exothermic, or option C, it must be equal to 0, or option D, it can be either positive or negative. So the right one is option D, that is it can be either positive or negative. So which of the following is true about the change in enthalpy of a reaction that is spontaneous at room temperature? That is option D, it can be either positive or negative. Okay, so these are all 20 questions of this video, that is part 10 on biochemistry MCQs. Okay, so thank you for watching this video.